of the candidate nor the number of votes obtained by any of the candidates as required by law. Equally, the parliamentary results collation sheet for 1C and parliamentary results summary sheet for 1D could not be served as required by Resolution 43 1B of CI 127. Additionally, the returning officer could not issue out the rates for 1B required by Resolution 43 1G. This section. That if your hand is raised that you have won an election, you go to the house. You go to say to your wife, your husband, that you have won an election. That will documentate you. So if your hand is only raised that you have won an election, and you go, what are you going to tell your wife or your husband? What are you going to show to your that you have won an election? The processes are documented in Revelation 43 of the CI. So if it's incomplete, it's incomplete. So that's for Madam Leclerc and Mahama. Two, we move on to Tema Central constituency. The details of the PPs for all the 148 polling stations in Tema Central shows clearly that the NPP parliamentary candidates, Charles Person, won the parliamentary election for the constituency with 55 votes difference. He obtained 18,870 votes to beat the NDC's candidate Eddie Bright, who paid 18,815. When the NDC realized that they had lost, they sent their party thugs to disrupt the coalition exercise. These thugs overpowered the security and ran amok at the coalition center, injuring innocent people in the process. This compelled the Tema Metro EC director, Mr. Ofosuhun Manasseh, to call for a suspension of the coalition in view of the prevailing chaos and other security concerns. Coalition resumed on Monday, 9th December, at the Tema Regional Police Command, which was again disrupted by the NDC thugs, who stormed the coalition center in their handbells and overpowered the police. The thugs took charge of the coalition process and ordered the EC to declare their parliamentary candidate, Eddie Bright, as the winner of the elections when it was left with 2 pink sheets to complete the coalition process. The NDC knew very well that when the results of the 2 remaining polling stations are added to what had been collated for the candidates, the MPP parliamentary candidate, Charles Forson, will beat their candidate by 55 votes. The polling station codes of the 2 outstanding stations and votes obtained by the 2 candidates are code C231309B, MPP 170 votes, NDC 103 votes. The second polling station outstanding is C231707, and here MPP got 279 votes and NDC 173. When the returning officer for the constituency resisted their attempt to compel him to declare the NDC candidate as the winner of the elections, the NDC brought in a staff of the electoral commission from a different constituency, Tema West, to do the declaration for the Tema Central constituency without the inclusion of the 2 remaining pink sheets. Here too, the Form 1B, 1C, and 1D were all not filled by the officer as required by the law. They used an A4 sheet to fill the statutory form. So, you have the video of the A4 sheet. Alright, so that is what happened at Tema Central. We now move on to Okaikwe Central constituency. The NPP candidate and incumbent MP for Okaikwe Central constituency, Honorable Patrick Bawumia, won the parliamentary elections with a vote margin of 1,446 votes difference. The NPP candidate, Honorable Patrick Bawumia, obtained 20,193 229 votes as against NDC's Baba Sadiq, who polled 18,783 votes, with only 3 polling stations remaining. The records show that even when all the votes in the 3 polling stations are added to the NDC's candidate, it will not offset the vote difference. This is important. Even when all the 3 outstanding polling stations are added on to the NDC candidate, it would not offset the vote difference. At this moment, the collation process was disrupted by the NDC tax, who stormed the collation center and sought to destroy critical electoral materials, including pink sheets essential for verifying the results. They took control of the collation process and threatened the EC's officials to declare their candidate as winner, resulting in chaotic scenes which led to suspension of the constituency collation. The parties were invited to the EC Regional Collation Center on Monday, 9 December 2024, to complete the collation process. The NDC insisted that they will not accept the continuation of the collation and demanded that the EC should declare their candidate as winner of the parliamentary elections. Under visible duress, the returning officer excluded the results from 31 polling stations and declared the result based on only 110 polling stations. This action is inconsistent with the electoral laws, as it excludes legitimate votes by constituents and fails to reflect the true outcome of the elections in our country central. This disagreement was based on alleged issue with certain polling stations. The attack stormed the electoral EC collation center and pressed the returning officer to declare. And here too, we have video footages to corroborate these incidents of vandalism and physical abuse of the electoral staff. I don't think you can show the people. This one is no. Alright, so let's go to the fourth one, Bawumia constituency. We will share these videos with you. During the collation at Bawumia constituency collation center, the NDC hoodlums attacked the collation center, destroyed electoral materials on site, bent ballot boxes, thereby truncating the collation process. The returning officer informed parties to leave the collation center on account of the security challenges, which made it impossible to continue with the collation. The returning officer assured the candidates and their agents that she will communicate a new venue for the continuation of the collation. However, hearing that there was a reported declaration of results under duress, and that too in absence, contrary to the requirements of regulation for the trade. CI 127. Equally, the parliamentary results collation sheet from 1C and parliamentary results summary sheet from 1D was not filed as required by regulation for the trade 1B. 1 and B of CI 127. The rate of declaration for 1B was also not issued as required by regulation for the trade 1 and G. The candidates or his agent have still not been informed of the new venue for the continuation of the collation, contrary to the assurances given by the returning officer during the raid by the NDC tax. Well, we can report that based on our own collation, the MPP parliamentary candidate, Ambassador Michael Koyi Jr., won the parliamentary elections in Bawumia and are confident that when EC resumes collation, our position will be vindicated. 5. Arafano North constituency in Ashanti region. The MPP parliamentary candidate, Honorable Eric Nana Ajimafembe, won the parliamentary elections with a margin of 121 votes as per data collated from all the 140 polling stations by the party. The MPP's candidates, Mahama have copies of all the 140 pages. That puts him at 20,353 votes, as against NDC's candidates at 20,232. We all have witnessed what we call MP3 in the showdown. So if somebody wins with a difference of 121, he has won. After all, the law says first past the post. During the collation by the EC at the Constituency Collation Center, NDC TAT stormed the collation center at Tepa SHS and began destroying and burning electoral materials, particularly pink sheets, computers, and ballot papers, as well as properties of the Tepa SHS, including louver blades, benches, and tables. They also manhandled MPP representatives and EC officials. These violent conducts by the NDC TAT, who had overpowered the police, prompted the intervention of the military to save lives and property. The NDC hoodlums did not only attack the collation center, but they also proceeded to launch an attack at the residence of the MPP parliamentary candidate, Honorable Eric Nana Ajimaya Prempeh, bent his vehicle and attacked his warehouse, stole his items, and attacked his radio station. There are video footages in wide circulations that captured all these attacks. These issues have since been reported to the Ghana police, and an arrest warrant has been issued. The videos are there, and we will give you copies of it. The question many will ask is, since when has it become an offense to contest a parliamentary elections in this country? Why is the NDC bent on thwarting all our democratic gains? Ghana has made a lot of gains. Instead of consolidating it, they are thwarting it. They are throwing it away. Let's go to the sixth one, Obuasi East. That's also in Ashanti. After collecting the polling stations results from all the 115 polling stations, the MPP parliamentary candidate obtained 18,558 votes. That's against NDC's 18,539. Strangely, the returning officer, the police, and the MPP candidate, at the threat of their life, succumbed to the unlawful demands of the NDC hoodlums, who had besieged the collation center and took charge of the constituency collation process to swap the election results. And we have that. Is that ready to show them? They swapped the results that I have mentioned and then announced that. Okay, they gave them APP's candidates to that of the NDC, the Obuasi East. They just canceled. They canceled the first one, which we have the data and reverse and I mean, what is this? Huh? They swapped the results in favor of the NDC.
And I locked the candidate and asked him to sign or he died.
Huh?
When he prefers dying or going to parliament. So he should sign.
Number 7, Ahafano Southwest, also in Ashanti. Results from all the 103 polling stations indicate that the MPP's candidate, Elvis Osei-Mensah Dapaah, obtained 16,058 votes, as against NDC's candidate, who polled 15,372 votes. As usual, the NDC hoodlums attacked the collation center and in the process killed one of our supporters. We have all our pink sheets intact, and that shows clearly that the MPP parliamentary candidate won the parliamentary elections by 686 votes margin. 686 votes margin. The EC invited the parties to its regional collation center on Monday, 9 December 2024 at 10 a.m. The EC collected all the results from all the 103 polling stations, filled the Form 1C as well as the Form 1D, But due to threat on his life, he opted not to declare the final result. So this is the situation at Ahafano Southwest. Now we go to Bono East, number 8, Techima South constituency. Collation from 279 out of a total of 282 polling stations indicate clear that Honorable Martin Kwaku Ajay Mensah Kosa, the NPP parliamentary candidate, obtained 46,468 votes as against NDC's Christopher Bayari, who polled for the 3,365 votes. Two other candidates in the parliamentary elections obtained 225 votes. The constituency coalition was disrupted by NDC elements and has since not resumed. All right. The next one is Eastern Region in Sawam Adwaji. Data from all the 202 polling stations show that the incumbent MP, Honorable Anodompre, has won the parliamentary elections. The EC's coalition at the Constituency Coalition Center was disrupted by the NDC. The EC's arrangement to continue with the coalition at the regional level in Koforidua was also disrupted by the hoodlums, compelling the EC to relocate the coalition to the police training school at Tesano, based on security considerations. Leader will want to add something because he was present.
Friends from the media, I want to explain something that happened at Tesano. Honorable Obiamwa and Agusa were there as representatives from the party's headquarters. On that day, that was a Thursday, last week Thursday, we had 4 constituencies: Pantiakwa North, Akotia, Suhum, and Nsawam Adwejiri. The first collation to be completed for the day was Afantiakwa North. When we got that done, we came to Akotia, which we also successfully completed, and it was declared. Then it was left with Nsawam Adwejiri and Suhum. Both were being done. Now, for Suhum, there was another go slow. The NDC at every stage tried to disrupt. Eventually, they rejected 6 polling station results, and we accepted that if they've rejected, they don't want it to be part, that is fine, because it was still giving us a win of over 1,500. Then they tried to use an independent candidate agent to frustrate the process. In fact, eventually, the NDC leaders who came there, led by the famous Alfred Woyome, told me and Honorable Obiamwa that they want to negotiate for us to allow the declaration of Suhum, and that their foot soldiers were amassing outside, and that if all 4 constituencies are declared for us, they will kill them. Very sad. Eventually, when we said no, we have to continue with the process, and we completed the Suhum process where Suhum was declared, they tried another go slow on Sawam Adwejiri. Each one of them that came said, "Oh, you say, I'm not on praying winning. I am farmer." Where does this happen? Eventually, when the EC official decided to continue the process, the NDC, led by Alfred Woyome, came into the collation center and said that, okay, their computer was not working, so we should give them 2 hours to charge their battery. At 1 a.m., when they had gotten 3 hours to charge the so-called battery of the laptop, they said they were tired. Meanwhile, their candidate walked in. The candidate for Nsawam Adwejiri walked in. And we said, okay, if you are tired, the candidate himself was there. Meanwhile, Honorable Anodompre had been there the whole day. What next? The EC official, after another 1 hour for necessary disruption, he said he was tired, he was feeling sleepy, and that we should do it at 6 a.m. the following day. Friday. We all slept there. Well, by the way, I left around 4 a.m. to shower, and I came back around 7 o'clock Around this time, the General Secretary was also there, but the candidate, Honorable Anodompre, and his agent slept there. At 6:30 thereabout, collation resumed. Around 8 o'clock, they started the agenda again. Will not allow. Then around 8:30, their counsel came in, Honorable Mr. Eduji Tamaklu, claiming that he had in his possession an injunction order from the court, only to find out later that they will use a delay tactics to file an application. They had filed a writ in court, that is the candidate for NDC had filed a writ in court with an injunction application, which they were seeking to serve the Honorable Anodompre and EC. So clearly, these are not Democrats. Whereas Dr. Bawumia conceded defeat even before EC's official announcement, they were not ready to accept defeat in these constituencies that they congratulated Mahama. They were not ready to concede defeat where they knew clearly, because the posture was that they won't allow the process to continue. And then, in fact, on Friday itself, after they had successfully gotten the Anodompre constituency collation disrupted, then they came to the others. The police had arranged collating tables for the other constituencies. In fact, Techiman South has started. They were collating. For North Southwest, we had their table. We had Obuasi East. And all the Ashanti region seats were supposed to be collated. And then the following day, Saturday, was for Greater Accra. They deliberately disrupted and used social media to threaten the police. The police felt that they could not provide security, in spite of EC's insistence to continue the work. In fact, on Friday afternoon, it was the police that actually instructed the EC to stop the collation process. I repeat, on Friday afternoon, it was the police that instructed EC to stop the process of collating the result because it was not sure of its ability to provide security. And you recall that was when the deputy communication officer, I don't want to mispronounce his name,
supporters and hoodlums besieging the respective constituency collation centers. The EC's arrangement to continue with the collation at the regional level was also disrupted by the hoodlums, compelling the EC to relocate the collation to the police training school at Tesano based on security constitution, just as leader has just mentioned. Subsequently, these collations have since been completed under a serene environment and the results declared. Due to our case, all the results were declared in favor of the MPP parliamentary candidates. The point must be made that this is not the first time in the history of this country's election that we have been confronted with an issue where there has been a continuation of a disrupted constituency collation or recollation. I think this point is very important, ladies and gentlemen. It will be recalled that in the year 2004, the parliamentary results in Poo constituency was initially declared for the MPP candidate, King David Amoa. However, upon recollation of the results based on the pink sheets provided by the NDC candidate and his agents, the EC, under the then chairman, Dr. Kwabio Afrajan, reversed the results and declared the NDC candidate as the winner. So it has happened before in the electoral history of this country. The point must also be made that the position of the law is that once a proper and regular declaration has been done by the EC, the only remedy available to an aggrieved party, apart from resorting to alternative dispute resolution, ADR, pursuant to Court Act and ADR Act, is to go to the High Court for redress under Article 99(1) of the 1992 Constitution. However, with the seats that the MPP is contesting, no declaration properly so called was done. So the declaration has not been done. Why do you, who can ask us to go to court? No, it's for the EC to recollect as it did in the year 2004 under Dr. Afreja, approved constituency in the now Bono East region.
But the EC says that there hasn't been.
But the EC itself has issued a statement, a press conference, that there's no declaration. How does the NDC expect the EC to gazette election results that have not been fully collated and declared? It is pretty obvious that the NDC leadership and their supporters who stormed the collation centers to compel the EC under the threat of death to declare their candidates as winners have labored in vain, because we are a country of rule of law, not rule of men. EC's response: it is not surprising that at a press conference held on Friday, 13 December, the Electoral Commission, through its deputy chair, Mr. Samuel Tete, stated emphatically that there was no declaration of the Ablekuma North, Domiko Abenya, Tema Central, Okaipe North, Afuano North, Afuano Southwest, Obuasi East, Techiman South, and Eswam Adwajiri constituency parliamentary results, because the collation was incomplete. Indeed, the Commission has maintained that all purported declaration of parliamentary results made under duress were seen in those constituencies are not in conformity with laid down processes enshrined in CI 127, hence illegal and will not be upheld by the EC. Conclusion: it is therefore our expectation that the EC would immediately resume the collation exercise. We implore the National Election Security Task Force to provide adequate security to facilitate peaceful collation under a serene environment. We are also calling on the NDC leadership to rein in on their supporters. We are very certain that our parliamentary candidates in the above-mentioned constituencies won the elections based on verifiable data from the pink sheets, as we have demonstrated. We urge the EC and all stakeholders to, in the interest of democracy and peace of our dear country, take immediate steps to give effect to the will of the voters in these constituencies as expressed in the December polls. I thank you all. Where is the MC?
All right, so you may proceed with questions.
Yeah, era Chairman Magmeno, a Kanye Ninano, Obon the Tofa. The baby we say, yeah, I award the new patriotic party. Ne, at the country and then more and central for no Asia. The tente and in the titi and they say, your consensus view are MPP based on Yayo college and Yaye near Dimkunim Ewoho. And after so, P-Theta, your Kotua Electoral Commission, and the political parties, no, your Kitani Yabom, no, near Dimkunim. Over consensus, maybe at a say, Ablekuma North. What shall vote MPP now, our Ablekuma North? I hear 34,613. Now NDC candidates, as we now 34,199. HSA year candidate, friend of Honorable Nana Equia Osefi, Edim Kunim with 414 votes. So we Ablekuma North, if you are over Tema Central, so what your results are, you are collated based on P-Theta, Electoral Commission, the Maya. Almost say your candidate a year forcing. And now 18,870. And now NDC candidates no, and now 18,115. Ofri Ablekuma North Naba Okaikwe Central. And so era Bawumia. So o collecting the results in the area. Obon said no 20,229. NDC candidates in 18,783. To show vote difference now 1,446 vote difference. Now got 3 polling stations and here see a kind NDC for the ampering. There's all kinds of 3 polling station votes in the Krabuma. Still, your candidate and they didn't kunim over. Oba baby to say Dominic Kwabinya also NDC for no 2 tracks and the Basabase call hono. Omantima Bawumia coalition na say koso or Dominic Kwabinya and no so ankoso ewo ho. Oba baby to say for North constituency a oka ye peace ta na ewo nyina boma ye candidate eye Nanajiman Eric Nanajiman Prempe enya 20,353 as against NDC candidate we now 20,232. To shema vote difference no 121 vote difference. Oba baby to say Obuasi East MPP na edin kunim ho. Vote MPP candidate na ye 18,558 as against NDC candidate we now 18,539. And no electoral commission will be no quality results na wie. Na so NDC for matchman for war to transfer ho e share electoral commission ye candidate say results MPP enya no ye MPP dey NDC ne find this there MPP our this can to esi so say obowu na so be parliament then na ope and o mchinchim your candidate nsa o ye no free our north south west and so your candidate or o share votes are na ye na 16,058 and this candidate na 16,000 your candidate na 16,058 and then this candidate na 15,372 and Ocean vote margin the BTN this now 686 votes. And so NDC for 2 tracks and Mahama electoral commission and collective results name we. Over Techiman South so Honorable Martin Kokweji Mensa Kosa no dim kunim or sa constituents wo. Our votes are near quality we now 46,468 as against NDC candidate we now 43,365 votes. And so said the NDC 4 years to try some more Kaikwe Central alpha no north no. Some of the call her Techiman South intimin can we in Sawa Adroji so the same idea said the era of federal marking majority electoral commission at twice meet me can we NDC the patapasem to try some massa exercise no am young kwanko we now about our win constituency also so